So what I'm going to do is we're going to just continue to explore this together, but I'm going to map this out in something we call the ACT map. And it's quite a simple way of trying to make sense of things that often feel quite complicated or complex. Is that okay?
Okay.
So I'm just going to jot some things down here, and the first thing that you shared with me is the first step is the situation, which is having to go through cardiac surgery and having this scar.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of led you to this point, hasn't it?
It has.
Okay. So, Mary, I wondered if you could say a bit more about some of the thoughts and feelings that are showing up about the scar. You mentioned some worries about redness. Can you tell me a bit more?
Well, I don't like to look at it. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
I don't look the way I used to, and I don't look. Other people don't have it, so I look at other people and think, gosh, I wish I didn't have a scar that other people can see.
Okay.
And I worry about people being upset
Okay.
when they see it, and I don't want to upset my granddaughter.
Okay.
So I don't want her to see it, and I don't like my husband seeing it.
Okay. Okay. So what I can hear is that some of the worries about how you feel about the way it looks and feels, some of the worries about how other people might respond and react,
Yeah.
like your granddaughter or your husband.
Yeah.
Okay. So when these feelings show up, feeling embarrassed or self-conscious, and they're kind of almost, if they're right up close like they are sometimes, Mary, what do you find yourself doing differently from what you would have done before you had the scar? For example, when you're spending time with your husband or your granddaughter.
Well, I don't like to show it. I always cover it up.
Okay.
I used to go dancing and wear low-cut tops. I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I certainly wouldn't go swimming with my granddaughter. I do what I can so people can't see it, and I can't see it.
Okay.
So I wouldn't stand in front of the mirror. I barely look in the mirror anymore, unless I'm fully... It's a bit hot in here. It's a bit hot in here, isn't it? Unless I'm covered up.
Okay. So Mary, what I can hear is that, because you feel anxious and self-conscious, you're doing a number of different things, like covering up, even though it's really hot, like today.
It feels hot. It is hot today.
You're avoiding doing certain things that sound like you used to enjoy, like going dancing or going swimming. But it also sounds like things that might be normal for you before, like looking in the mirror. You've been avoiding doing those things as a way of keeping yourself safe.
It's safe. It's an interesting, safe.
Okay.
I don't want to, safe.
Okay. It's understandable that you're doing those things. And yet, my next question, Mary, is whether there are any costs, do you think, of avoiding spending time with your granddaughter, of covering up those things?
Well, I can't wear all my old clothes. I often don't relax like I used to. I'm anxious about it and thinking about it a lot. And I haven't been swimming with my granddaughter since before the operation.
Okay.
We used to do that once a week.
Okay.
I don't do that anymore. I don't want her to see this now.
Okay. And how do you feel about not going swimming? Is that bothering you?
Well, I know it bothers her. She's disappointed, and which upsets me.
Okay.
It does upset me.
Okay.
We used to like that. I like spending time with her.
Okay.
It's important.
So I can hear that these worries that you have, really understandable worries about the scarring, is having quite a big impact on you and stopping you from doing some of the things that you'd like to be doing.
Yeah.
So what I now want to move on to in our ACT map is just take a few moments to think about the next step, which is what's important to you, what do you value? You've given me a bit of a sense of that. Can you say some more, Mary?
What do I value? Well, I value my family.
That's really come across.
Yeah, I value spending time with her and connecting with her. It's important to both of us.
Okay.
So keeping up that relationship is really important.
Okay.
And dancing. I haven't said much about dancing, but I see my friends. So that social connection.
Okay. So what I can see as we're mapping this out together, what I want to show you is that over here we've looked at how some of these worries, these difficult thoughts and feelings are really pulling you away from doing the things you care about. They make you feel safe, but they come at a bit of a cost as well. What you've shared over here is some of your values. Feeling connected with friends, with family, those things are important to you.
They are.
Okay. So what I wonder is, would you be willing for us to look over here at some ways to help you unhook from those difficult thoughts and feelings?
I'd love to, yeah.
And take some practical, active steps towards doing more of the things that you care about, getting back to those activities that used to give you a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is use an approach called ACT, which stands for Acceptance and Commitment Training. And the name really says what that means. So ACT isn't accepting everything around us. And that word can sometimes be hard, acceptance, when you've been through what you have done. But what we mean here is accepting any things that are outside of your control right now. And focusing your energy and your attention on the things that are within your control, like getting back to dancing, like reconnecting with your granddaughter. And we're going to be using 2 key skills. We call them our pillars, our ACT pillars, which are mindfulness skills. I'll explain more about that in a moment. And what we call our values-based skills, which are connecting with what we really care about. And those 2 pillars, I have a sense that you've got those already, but we're really going to look at strengthening those pillars so that you can feel that you have this scar, but you can live well with it and move forward with what you care about. How does that sound?
Good.
Yeah.